Hi everybody, welcome to Live Blogger. We are creating a contact page from scratch using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. In the last video we created the markup of our contact page and this is how it looks. This is the HTML. Now in this video we will style it using CSS and the end result that we want is this design right here. This is how it should look. We can see we have the contact form here on the left, and on the right we have some other options to contact, and we also have these hover animations, and whenever we click on any of these input fields we have this animation for the placeholders. So this is how the end result of our design should look. Alright, so if you go to the HTML we can see that we have already linked our style.css file over here. So let's get started. I'm in the style.css file, and first of all let's target the contact container division. So here we can see this is the main division which wraps everything. So let's style that first of all. So tap dot contact container, and for that we will give it a font family of Roboto and sans serif. Now to use the Roboto font family you have to have the link of the font in our HTML file. So let's go to Google Fonts and get the link of this font. So I'm here in fonts.google.com, and here we can see the Roboto font. Just click on that and then select the styles that we want. So we'll just select the regular and the bold versions. And here we can see on the right we have the link of the font. We can add this font to our HTML by copying this link, or else you can even add it to your CSS by going to import and just copying this line of code to the top of your CSS. We'll just copy the link. So I will go over here and copy this link from here, and we'll paste it in the HTML. So in the head section we can just copy and paste the link of our font. Alright, so let's continue with our design. Now the next thing is that we want both the sections to be one next to the other. So this is the contact left division and this is the contact right division. So for that we'll be using display of flex. And now we can see we have both these divisions one next to the other. We'll also center it vertically. So for that we can just tap align items to the center, and now we can see both are centered vertically. Now let's set a maximum width to this division. So we'll set a maximum width of 800 pixels, and we'll also center it horizontally. So for that we can just type margin 0 for top and bottom and auto for left and right. So now if I maximize this we can see that we have a maximum width of 800 pixels and all the content is at the center. Now let's set the color of the text to 023047, and we'll also give it a padding. Before that let me just give it a background color to see how much padding is being applied. So we'll give it a padding of 48 pixels top and bottom and 16 pixels left and right. So we can see that the padding is being applied. Let's just delete this line of code. Alright, now let's move on to the left part of the contact page. So in our HTML we can see that in contact container we have contact left and contact right. So let's style the contact left division. So here we'll type contact container contact left, and we'll give it a background color of 2EC4B6, and let's give it a padding of 32 pixels top and bottom, 24 pixels left and right, and we'll also give it a border radius. So if you go over here we can see that we have different kinds of border radius. On the top right we have 0 border radius, and here on the bottom right and the bottom left we have different border radius, and on the top left we have a larger border radius. So here we'll type 48 pixels for top left, 0 for top right, and 5 pixels for the bottom. Now we'll just reset the margin of the body so that we don't have any extra margins. So here I will type body margin 0. Right, now let's continue with the styling. Here we will give it a box shadow to the contact left division. So we'll type box shadow, and we'll give it the values of 0, 5 pixels, 16 pixels, -2 pixels, RGBA 0, 0, 0 and 0.2. Right, now let's style the H2. So I'll type contact container h2, and we'll give it a margin top of 8 pixels and a margin bottom of 32 pixels, and we'll set the font size to 22 pixels. Now for the heading of the left section, we want to have the text color as white. So if you go to the index.html file, we can see that for this heading we have given it a class of contact left heading. So let's target that. So here we'll type contact container h2 dot contact left heading, and we'll give it a color of white. Now let's target the form input fields. So we'll type contact container contact left form element dot form input. In the HTML file we can see we have form element for all the input fields, and in that we have the input fields with the class of form input. Now let's give it a padding of 12 pixels and 16 pixels, and we want this placeholder to be inside this input field. So we'll do that first of all, and then we will continue with the styling of the form input. So here we can see in the HTML the form element is the container division of the input field and also the label. So we can set the position of this form element to relative, and then we can position the label relative to the form element. So here we'll type contact container contact left form element, and let's set the position to relative, and we'll set the position of the label to absolute. So contact container contact left form element label, and we'll set the position to absolute, and we'll set the left position to 16 pixels, and we'll set a transform of translate y of 12 pixels, and let's set the font size to 14 pixels, and we'll set the color of the text to 777. Alright, now let's continue styling the form input. So we'll give it a width of 100% of the parent. Now we can see our form input is going outside the container. So for that we have to set the box sizing to border box, and we can see that it fits perfectly. Right, after that we will set the border to 0, and we'll give them a margin bottom of 24 pixels, and we'll also give it rounded corners. So we'll type border radius of 4 pixels, and let's also set a box shadow of 0, 5 pixels, 8 pixels, negative 2 pixels, RGBA 0, 0, 0 and 0.2. Now let's style this button. So let's target that by typing contact container contact left, and for the button we have given a class name of form button. So here we'll type form btn, and let's give it a background color of 023047, and we'll set the border to 0. We'll set the color of the text to white. We'll give it a padding of 10 pixels top and bottom and 48 pixels left and right, and let's also set the border radius to 4 pixels, and we'll set the font weight to bold, and we'll set the font size to 14 pixels. Let's also give it the same box shadow. So I'll just copy this from here and paste it over here. Now when we hover over this button, we want to change the cursor to pointer. So for that, here we will type cursor pointer. Now we can see when we hover over this, we have this pointer. Now let's style the right part of our contact page. So we'll type contact container contact right, and we'll give it a padding left of 32 pixels. Now let's style all these social icons. So we'll type contact container contact right social icons A, and we'll set the font size to 32 pixels, and we'll also set the color to 023047. Now let's add some space between these icons. So I'll type margin right, and we'll set the margin right to 12 pixels. Alright, we are pretty much done with the styling. Now let's also style it for the mobile version. So in the mobile version, we can see that the left section is at the top and the right section is at the bottom, and we have also set the width to 100%. So let's do that. We'll type at media, and we'll set a max width of 600 pixels. So if the window size is less than 600 pixels, everything inside this block will be applied to the elements in the page. So we'll type contact container and we'll set the flex direction to column. So now we can see that they are one below the other, and we'll also set the padding to 0 for top and bottom and 32 pixels for left and right. Now let's target the left section. So I'll type contact container contact left, and we'll set the border radius to 0, and we'll set the width to 100%, and we'll also set a padding of 16 pixels top and bottom and 60 pixels left and right. Let's also target the right section. So we'll type contact container contact right, and we'll set the width of this to 100% as well, and we'll give it a padding of 48 pixels top and bottom and 0 for left and right. And now we can see that even the mobile version looks fine. So that's it with the styling of the mobile and the desktop version of our contact us page. Now in the next video, I'll show you how to add these animations to your contact form and also these hover effects. So we'll be using JavaScript and CSS combined to make this happen. So that's it for this video. If you have any doubts, you can ask in the comments below. And if you like this video, please click on the like button and subscribe to this channel to get the latest video updates. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day.